So we've come to that time of the year. Whether you're going to be in person or online, it's time to get back to youth group. That's what we're going to be talking about today, right here on the Youth Worker Daily. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Youth Worker Daily, where we hope to encourage youth workers just like you with tools, tips, resources, and helps so that you thrive in your ministry. My name is Jay Hyam, and welcome to another episode of the Youth Worker Daily. I want to take a moment though before we jump into our topic to remind you of something we talked about on yesterday's episode. And that is the upcoming volunteer training event hosted by Download Youth Ministry. Coming up on Saturday, September the 19th, Download Youth Ministries is hosting an online training opportunity for your volunteers. They call it the National Day of Volunteer Youth Ministry Training. It's an incredible event all online where you get to bring your volunteers for a morning of training with some of the leading names and thinkers in youth ministry. Of course, Josh and Doug will be there as our hosts, but there's a great list of speakers that will be there to help train and prepare your volunteers for the coming year in youth ministry. This is being done by signing up online via your local host site, and then there's a couple different options. Depending on where you might be in the country and what your corona restrictions are, you might be able to gather in person at a host site, or you might have the opportunity to actually host this on your own for your volunteers and watch the online training together, maybe in your church or in the home of one of your leaders. Lots of options, lots of possibilities, but the first thing you need to do is you need to see what this is all about, watch the trailer, look at the speakers and the topics, check out the great price. Bear in mind that this is for your entire volunteer staff, not just you and one or two of your leaders, but your entire volunteer staff all comes for one price. So go online, check it out, and then get yourself registered so that you and your team can be part of this year's conference. Here, I, along with my church, we are a host site for our area. So if you are in the Ohio, West Virginia, or Pennsylvania area, we would love to have you check out and register through us so that you can participate in the upcoming conference. And the best way for you to do that is to simply go to youthworkerdaily.com and click on the link for the National Day of Volunteer Youth Ministry Training. Youth Ministry Training. Get registered, and I'll be in touch with you about how you can set up your day of training for your volunteers. Okay, fair enough? Good. Hope to talk to you real soon about that. All right, let's jump into today's topic. So we're talking about getting back to youth group. Now, I don't know where you are and how things have been for you, but as I started thinking about starting things up for my student ministry, one of the things that I wanted to consider is kind of where I am with this whole corona season. And how we're starting up. So there's a lot of different things that are going to need to be considered. So as you listen to today's episode, I'm going to pretty much share from my perspective of what I'm doing based on what we can do in this area. So you're going to want to make sure you're up to speed with whatever the restrictions are in your area, what your church leadership is doing, and maybe some of the other youth groups that are around you, how they're coming back. So they might be great, helpful resources for you. But as I begin thinking about returning to youth group, it's been a crazy summer for us. Our church leadership has tried to set the example for our community in that we have taken pretty extreme precautions to make sure that we are honoring the guidelines and the restrictions that our local government have put out. Including we have not met in our building since early March. When word came out and things got shut down, we figured out how to go online. We've done our services online. As the weather warmed and we moved into late spring, early summer, we were able to gather as a church at a local park that had an amphitheater that allowed us to worship outdoors where there is plenty of space to spread out. We enacted protocols such as mask wearing for staff. We made sure to practice appropriate social distancing in the amphitheater itself for the early couple weeks while people were getting adjusted. Every other row was roped off. We encouraged families with kids to come and they could sit in the grassy areas that were there for the amphitheater. And we really encourage people to be smart, to be considerate of others, and to practice good social distancing and spread out. And for the duration of the summer, we've been able to do that without any incidents, and we thank God for that. But that's what we do for Sunday morning worship. When it comes to our children's ministry and our student ministry, well, for the most part, those things have been shut down, at least in the way of gathering in person. We've been doing some things online. We've been providing some take-home packets for families, and our student ministry has been doing some things, but most of it has been online ministry. But as we move forward now and start thinking about getting back to school, getting back to work, getting back to youth group, there are some things that I've started thinking about that I want to change as I think about how I'm going to lead my leaders, how I'm going to talk to students, how I'm going to interact with parents, because we are planning to go back online at least for another 4 months. Now, let me set some let me share a few things so you can understand where I'm coming from with this list. I know for me, I have already caught myself a number of times this summer and in having conversations preparing for the fall, saying things or making comments like this. Well, we're going to go back online, and it's not really our first choice or what would be ideal or even what we'd want to do, but it's the best that we can do at this point, and so that's what we're going to do. Now, I threw in a little sarcasm. I kind of drew that out a little bit. I wanted to make it sound not real positive. But in all honesty, that really was how I often communicated that. And when I started thinking about that, I was like, what I'm saying really in this statement is, hey, because of everything going on, we can't give you what you want or what we want. So we're gonna kind of just figure it out and make it happen and give us the best that we can get with like plan B, or this is option 2. So this is what we're gonna do, and it's gonna be what it's gonna be. Now that's maybe not wrong. It's not wrong to think that, but I think when we allow ourselves to communicate that, what it comes across as here, and what you hear that is that it's really not going to be anything special. We're going back online. We're going back to YouTube. We're not going to be back in person. It's all just whatever. And I began to see that negative approach really wasn't good for me. It wasn't good for my students. Wasn't good for my leaders. Wasn't good for our overall program. And so I've been forcing myself to change how I think about coming back, and that has led me to 5 things that I want to do in this year, starting back up as we get back into the groove of youth ministry. And the first thing is, you got to get excited. If you are going back online, or if you're going back in person, I'm sure if you're going back in person, that's going to mean that you've got probably masks and restrictions and social distancing things that you have to overcome. And all those things can still be a tough sell for our students and for our families. But I think the thing that we need to do is we need to get excited. Whether we're online or in person, we're getting back together. Youth group is starting again. This is an exciting thing. We need to get excited. We need to get excited in the way we speak. We need to have some energy in how we communicate to people. And we need to kind of create that buzz so that others begin thinking, okay, it's online or it's in person. I have to wear a mask. I have to stay 6 feet. Whatever it is, people are excited because we are offering students and their families an opportunity for God to do amazing thing in their lives. And whether it's online or in person with masks and social distancing, God can still overcome that and great things can still happen. And so it's worth us getting excited so that our students and families get excited. So as you begin thinking about it and talking about it, start getting excited about the coming year. I think the other thing that we need to do, number 2, would be to get new words. And what I mean by that is think about how you are communicating the fact that you are starting again. Whether it is online or in person with masks and social distancing, we need to choose words that are going to be positive and not bring that negativity of, well, it's just online and it's, you've got to wear a mask the whole time. No, we need to find words that communicate that this is a good thing, and we're doing whatever we need to do, taking whatever precautions we need to take so that we can offer this time with our students in a way that is safe and comfortable for everyone. So choose your words. Think about what you say. Think about how you communicate that youth group is starting back up again. And go with things that are going to be positive and encouraging for your students and their families. I think the third thing that we need to do as youth leaders is to get our leadership team excited about this. I know for my leadership team, we've really struggled not being able to connect with our students the way that we want to. And it has really kind of weighed on us, and it's made us weary, and we've been frustrated. I am completely honest, we've been frustrated. But I think as we get rolling forward, one of the big tasks that we have is to get our leaders excited. Same thing with our students and parents. Like, going back online is not a horrible option. We can still do good ministry and we can still have fun while being online. Being in person with masks and social distancing, that's not a bad thing, that's a good thing. And we can still do ministry and we can still have fun in those circumstances. But we've got to get our leaders excited about it. So the same way you're going to get your students, you want to be reaching out to your leaders, get them excited, and then you want their excitement to bubble over to your students so that you're just seeing this full circle event of people getting excited about the return of youth group. I think the fourth thing that we need to then do is we need to work to get our parents on board. Now, parents are going to be, across the scale in their comfort level coming back to youth group. Some are going to be all for their students plugging back in, and some are going to be a little apprehensive about plugging back in. One of the concerns that I have as we go back online for the next 4 months is parents encouraging their kids to get online so that we can actually have an opportunity to engage with them. The kids are going to be back online for school stuff. They're going to be doing things still in certain areas through Zoom, so they're going to already have a lot of screen time and a lot of Zoom time and a lot of internet time, and so that's going to be an obstacle that we have to get over. But I think if we can get our parents on board and help them to see that because of whatever it is that's happening around us, this is the way that we're going to do that, getting them on board with that idea so that they can encourage their kids to plug in is going to help you have that connection with those students. Now, it's not just about the parents getting on board, because you also need to have that excitement from the leaders. You need to have your leaders be engaging those students and getting them excited about being on those online calls or whatever it is that you're doing. So get your leaders excited, but also get your parents on board. And then I think the final thing as we think about getting back to youth group this year, and that's going to be real simple. It's getting on our knees in prayer. Because of all of the stuff that's still going on, going back to school, there's those questions about is school going to take place? Are we going to get shut down? There's a lot of just fear, concern, and anxiousness that is out there. And I think the best way for us to overcome that is for us to get on our knees and begin praying that as we start up this new year, that God would be in the midst of it and that He would do great things through these circumstances. That He would calm hearts, that He would drive people together, that He would overcome the whole corona thing and just begin to bring us back together as a country and as a community so that we can get back to life and doing the things that He has called us to do. So whether you're going online or whether you're meeting in person with masks and social distancing, don't just jump in thinking you know what's best. Get on your knees. Pray for that time and allow God to speak through you, speak to you, and use you as you minister to your students and their families this season. So there you go. 5 things that I'm thinking through, 5 things that I'm working on. I want to get excited. I want to get my leaders excited. I want to get new words. I want to get parents on board, and I want to get on my knees and I want to pray. So hopefully those things are encouraging for you and maybe help you through some of the things that you're facing as you look to start off your year. And if you have other things you're considering, leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear about it. Guys, as always, thanks so much for taking a few minutes to watch today. We want to encourage you to visit us on the youthworkerdaily.com, our website, with other videos like this one, along with other tools, tips, resources, and helps to make so that you thrive in your ministry. Don't forget to look us up on social media. You'll find us at YTH Worker Daily. That is YTH Worker Daily. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Look us up, follow us, see what we're posting and sharing. We'd love to connect with you through that platform. And finally, tomorrow is the big day. Season 2 of our podcast, Conversations with Everyday Youth Workers, finally drops. It's going to be great. A friend of mine, Brian Lucas, is our very first guest for this season. You're going to love this conversation as we talk about youth ministry, Corona, and moving forward into the fall. Check us out wherever you listen to your podcast. Just look for the Youth Worker Daily, Conversations with Everyday Youth Workers. Guys, that's going to do it for us today. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on the Youth Worker Daily.